This episode of the Council of the First Ones was recorded on September 13th, 2020.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Council of the First Ones. I'm your host, Kelly. Joining me today, we have Dave from adultcollector.org. How are you doing, Dave?
I'm wonderful. It's so great to get another chance to talk about He-Man with everybody, and I'm here in Seattle hiding from the smoke, so that's my weekend. Yeah.
Oh.
Also joining us is Shawn. How are you doing out there, Shawn?
I can't complain. I got my whole schedule confused. I thought we were recording last week, so I was down here in my basement. I'm like, oh, it's next week. So here I am. I'm back. So glad to be back again.
Oh, you thought last weekend was Labor Day, huh?
When you work at home, the concept of time isn't even there. You're just like, oh, people have off today. I don't. Okay, that's good. So on with life. So.
But Dave, I see you brought a friend with you. You want to introduce him to us?
Absolutely. Yeah. So I'm very happy to bring on this episode my friend Dave Turner, who is a big He-Man fan and a professional wrestler. Hi, Dave.
Hey, how's everybody doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm really good. I'm same as Dave, sitting in Seattle. Just I'm not doing as great of a job of staying out of the smoke, though.
Well, Dave, getting our Daves mixed up.
Yeah, Dave can
our
call
guest
me,
David.
Go ahead and call me David, and you can call him Dave. Is that okay?
Dave. Dave's perfectly fine. So, Dave, how did you get involved with Masters of the Universe?
So
I know I'm putting you on the
interesting
spot.
story. No, actually, so I'm almost 38 years old. So Masters has been a part of my life for as long as I can remember. In fact, a couple years ago, I was digging through an old baby book that my mom had, and she had written within my first year that I was a huge He-Man fan, but I called him Me-Man.
Awesome.
So as long as I can remember, He-Man's always been there. But as I kind of grew older and I matured, I was able to hang on to a couple of my figures from my childhood. But I wasn't really ever at a point where, like, when David and I first started working together, he clued me in on the Matty Collector line. But at that time, I wasn't able to really sit down and invest some money in it. And I'm a completionist. So when I start something, I want to get 100% of everything. And I think I was already a little bit behind on the Matty Collector line. And it's just like, well, someday. And then over this COVID, it's really kind of given me the opportunity to just completely nerd out on everything He-Man. And I've jumped full line into the classics, into the origins. I just completed my entire comic book set. So it's always been there, but now it's been just super, like, overtaken my life.
You're even planning to get a tattoo.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. I've always had an idea that I wanted to do like a full or a half sleeve. But I never really could get my idea about what I wanted. And then somebody in one of the adult collector groups posted a picture of Skeletor and Merman and Evil Lyn and Beastman, and I think Triclops, or maybe Trapjaw. And I just thought, that is the coolest thing. That's it. That's what I want my sleeve to be.
Nice. That is very cool.
Now, do you have a favorite character?
Well, it sounds cliche, but of course He-Man, right? But I think Skeletor would be my next favorite. And then if I had to go outside of the box as far as traditional, who's your favorite, it would probably be Faker, just because I love that idea of having, I love the idea that he was created to fool the Eternians into thinking that he was a different He-Man. And it's just the whole, and it's upsetting to me because his backstory isn't very rich, right? I think they could probably take him and flesh him out and really make him an interesting character to the whole Masters universe. And that's kind of my hope. You know, we've got these new DC comics that are out and everything like that. And I really hope that they take some of these characters and bring them to life more.
Definitely.
Actually Keldor too. I'm a huge fan of Keldor.
Oh, nice. Very cool.
Well, I don't know if you guys ordered them, but on September 5th, a certain toy book, the supplemental guide, went on sale at I believe it's shop.thepower-con.com. Pixel Dan's book, as of the recording of this, is 40% sold out. Be prepared. Yes, it's $80 for the 2 books and $10 shipping plus your taxes. So close to $100 you might be spending, but it is supporting all the people who wrote it. Yes, you can get the character guide cheaper on Amazon, but you cannot get that supplemental guide. So, guys, did you go for the bundle, or are you going right to Amazon?
Well,
I went for the bundle.
You went for the bundle? Awesome.
I went for the bundle.
There you go.
Yeah. I went for the bundle. I have the special edition Dark Horse book. I figured, why not? I love Dan and Danielle and the whole crew that worked on it. And we want to see more of these books come out. Come on. We want to keep throwing our money away.
You know, and Dark Horse, I bought the entire collection of mini comics.
Yeah.
And the newspaper comic strips. And Dark Horse does a fantastic job of putting those books together. Just the quality of the craftsmanship, of the binding and everything. It's just such a well done collection of books. And I'm actually quite surprised to hear that they're only 40% sold right now, because I jumped on it that morning. I think, in fact, I was probably even an hour late before I bought it. I think I bought it at 10 Pacific time. And I thought, oh man, I got to get on this because this is going to sell out fast. Had I known they were only 40% sold out, I probably would have waited and not put it on my credit card. But, you know, whatever.
Well, it's hard,
I
hard
have
to
a feeling.
gauge.
Also, you figured that was a holiday weekend when it was released. And unless you knew and had your calendar remind you, hey, they're going on sale, out of sight, out of mind. If it was a normal convention and they had it, that would have been sold out Friday night while people were picking up their tickets.
Yeah. I actually left my PowerCon email unread, so that way, because I'm very neurotic with the notifications on my phone, I can't have the little red dot that says I've got a notification. But if I've got an important email like that, I left the PowerCon email unread so I would see that notification and be reminded to go online and buy it that morning. I was still an hour late, but, you know, I got it nevertheless. I did.
Like I can't stand when I see that little M on my phone. I have to open it right away.
Yep, it drives me nuts. I sat there in my car thinking, do I buy the book on Amazon or do I go for the extra book with it? And I thought, well, I've got to get the extra book. I don't I'm not really even sure what the extra book consists of or what it's really about. Can you guys clue me in on that?
It is all the characters that they forgot in the original character guide.
Okay.
So it's
all right.
actually breaking down everything, locations, items. It's not just characters.
And different iterations
helpful
of characters.
That's great because I jump all in on these things. I've thought, well, when I'm done with classics, what do I do after that? And I've kind of started to pick up a few 2000X series toys. In fact, just yesterday I bought the He-Man and Skeletor 2-pack that came out because it had the comic book that came with it.
Yeah.
And my friend, quote unquote, peer pressured me into buying the Mondo line. We were at a local toy store.
Oh man.
And Merman was up there and he's like, you should just do it. Like, you love He-Man, just do it. You spend this amount of money on the classics anyways.
Which Merman did you get? The plain one or the psychedelic disco style?
I got the plain one because I'm not super keen on the disco style. I don't know why. They didn't put them in. They weren't disco style in the cartoons. They weren't disco style in the comics. I just want my characters to be my characters. And after I bought the Merman, somebody in one of the Mondo groups or one of the buy and sell groups was selling a faker. So then I bought the faker, and then I put money down on Man at Arms.
Dang.
And then somebody was selling He-Man, and I'm like, okay, well, I went so deep.
Yeah.
But I'm very in love with the character guide idea because I thought, well, the vintage toys they got to be next.
Mm-hmm.
See, I worked on the first compendium alongside Renee and Renee Chavez, and it was an amazing experience. It's a beautiful book, made by fans for fans, and it's a must. I highly recommend you get the main book. I want to mention that the cost of this bundle is high, but it's going to help support, to give support to the fans who helped make it possible, who built the book and all of its content. And there was a ton of work that was put into it, by Pixel Dan, by Val Staples and others, and by Penny Dreadful. And I want to mention that with the first book, we were given some compensation thanks to Val Staples, and so it's wonderful that they're taking this extra step to say, okay, let's have everybody pitch in and give some help to those hardcore fans who put so much of their lives into this.
I think that's great. And, it does seem high, but when you price it out next to other Dark Horse books, it's not drastically higher for the price of two books, really. I think I saw the artwork of Masters of the Universe book at my local comic book store for $45 or $50.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's a little steep, but for the quality that you're getting with the publication and putting it all together, it's honestly worth every penny, in my opinion. And because they're just, like I said, they're so well crafted. They're going to sit so nicely on a bookshelf and just look beautiful on a bookshelf.
Right. Yeah.
Make sure the bookshelf is strong enough, like 700 pages for the.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Yeah. I got that.
You're paying about $10 for every 100 pages.
Yeah. And when I picked up the mini comic version of the book, I wasn't expecting it to be as heavy as it was. They're heavy books. It's almost like holding a Bible.
They are Bibles.
The book is,
They are. Yeah. They're the Bibles of our community.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yep. So, David, does the character guide have the bios written in the same format artistically as the Penny Dreadful bios that are being posted to the
No,
to the He-Man.org?
I would say no, because they're not. It's a reference book, right? Whereas the bios are written to tell a story. Yeah, and so
that's
this
what I want. If Penny Dreadful's listening, give me a bios book that
there
will
you
tell
go.
that whole story.
Awesome. I'll tell her. Yeah.
I'll buy that. Yeah.
Hey, and there's your idea for the next Dark Horse book for MOTU.
Yeah.
All the bios.
That would be amazing, and because for a lot of reasons, but one is there are so many bios and so many characters and such a rich story that you can get lost, trying to put it all together, and so a bio collection that gives a lot of context that helps you pull everything together and talks about the ongoing story, the timeline and such. That would be amazing.
Yeah, that would be really fun. Those bios, I wanted to keep a lot of the bios that came on the packages for the classic figures, but so many of what I'm buying are loose, and I just thought I'm not going to keep around 25% of these cardboard backings. Like, I'll just get rid of them. So if we could get a book of bios, that would be wonderful. I'd buy that in a heartbeat.
That would be very cool. Well, and this this toy guide is wonderful. I mean, it's a must-have, and aside from the and now, by the way, I wanted to mention, I think that as I recall, if you buy the bundle, then when you get the toy guide book, it has a different cover than if you bought it on Amazon. Is that correct, or am I making?
I believe that is. I think that I read that somewhere.
Yeah, I'll have to check on Facebook.
Yeah, I'll have to double check too. I was more fascinated watching the video about moving the attorney play set by himself.
Yeah, oh yeah, that was fun.
I was like, we heard the story during PowerCon, but to see it, it's like, whoa. And he made it look like this is no big thing. It's just like moving one item.
Oh, I see. I don't think it comes with a different cover. It's just that, there's that other cover for the compendium supplement.
That might have been where we got that idea.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, I'm sure hopefully we'll get some other wonderful Dark Horse comics in the coming years, different collections and whatnot. Maybe a follow-up to the mini-comic collection so that we get all the Origins mini-comics and such. I'm sure there are a lot of great opportunities for things like that.
Yes, even if they turn around and do a book with all the regular comic books in the 80s, the Star and the Marvel, and then eventually the DC that did the regular comic book.
Sure.
They do have a DC compendium out.
Yeah, the
DC
omnibus.
Compendium doesn't. Yeah, the omnibus includes everything that's been published by DC to Masters of the Multiverse.
Oh, really?
It has up. No, it actually has up until the Thundercats crossover. It doesn't have Injustice, and it doesn't have the multiverse. Yeah.
Ooh, I'm
good. Yeah, they're missing the Star Marvel comics then.
Well, this was exclusively published with DC, so that's why they didn't have the rights to do that stuff. And that it would be worthwhile for them to go back and actually do those Star comics, because I used to have them as a kid and I couldn't tell you where they are anymore from like moving and all this. Well, I'm not as good about this stuff compared to other people. Like when I was a kid, I was the worst person with any collectible growing up. Like, I mean, I played with my toys. They got, stuff went all over the place. I lost Han Solo's gun in the first 2 minutes of opening the character when I was a kid, and he fell into the cracks in a patio my dad made. And I was begging him to rip the bottom out so that I could get this gun. And he's like, "No, it's lost." And I was like, "Oh, all right." But comics, they were well loved, all that stuff. So yeah.
When it came to my comics, after I read them, they went into the plastic bag, and I wound up filing them. And when I was 18, I was going to sell them because there was a huge comic book store, and the comic book store actually said, "You don't want to sell your collection just yet."
Nice.
I'm like, huh? He's like, "Trust me. I have the original Transformers, the first 4 issues. The Spider-Man got married issue. I even have the supersized Star Wars Jumbo 1977 comic book."
Wow, impressive.
Wow. I actually just finished off the Marvel Star series.
Oh, nice.
Which ended up costing me a pretty little penny, but I ended up being so close. It's like, you know what? I got to spend the money on it. And then the MV Creations, I'd like to see a full book of the MV Creations comics as well.
Oh, for sure.
Because I just think that was such a cool idea to continue the 2000X series in a comic book form and just round it all out. I just thought that was great.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many wonderful comics and such for Master of the Universe. I wanted to mention, remember there's that collection of comics from Retro Fabric. I don't know if they're German or Swedish. I know Yuka's probably having a fit right now listening to this when he listens to it. But yeah, there's some beautiful foreign comics, overseas comics as well, that definitely deserve to have their own collection. And so Retro Fabric provided one. It's not in English. They don't have plans yet for any English version. I asked them. They said that they don't have any license to sell this book in the United States. So hopefully down the
post the link. I think you posted the link for that book, didn't you?
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. I've got to go back and find that. I'll be honest with you guys. My wife will probably end up leaving me because she'll need more room in our house. But it's these things that I sit and I tell myself, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to get the foreign comics, or I don't need to collect all the original mini comics now because I have the giant book. But I know that down the line, I'm just lying to myself. Eventually, I'll end up getting them all.
Yep. That's how it happens.
I always feel really sorry for the completionists like that. Like, I'm somebody, I can give or take certain things, and I'm thrilled. Like if I have the main characters in the line, I'm usually over the moon, because to me the main characters are, you got He-Man's main core heroic warriors with him, you got Skeletor and his main evil warriors. For me, the Horde and the Snake Men aren't even a big deal compared to that, because that's the heart and soul of the line. And then after that, if I get the others and I can pick and choose, I'm thrilled. But I don't need, like, Squeeze. I don't need, some of those other, like, the Snake Men are one I'm not a fan to begin with. So I pick or choose, like, oh, okay, I had Tongue Lasher as a kid. I'll get him. I'll get King Hiss because I like elements of that. But then, it's like the people that are completionists, I hear their stories and I'm like, I know how much I've gone in on my collection, and I don't want to think about needing more than I've already got sometimes. So,
fortunately, I've got a limit. Like, my limit is like non-canon characters. So, like, the Skeletor and Molar 2-pack, I'm not going to get that because Molar's not actually in the Masters of the Universe canon, right?
And
while I was
Well, I was
Go
just
ahead.
going to say it's a parody too. So there's an element of that. Like for me as a collector, I'd be like, I don't need anything as a parody because, I look at this is my childhood and the passion of that. And it wasn't a parody when I was a kid, versus,
Right. Exactly.
so your way of looking at it, I completely agree with that. Sure.
Yeah. And when I just actually recently was looking through the next, because I try to buy the classics in the order that they were released. Because I post a little.
That's like hard mode.
That's difficult. Like times 10 with some of those eBay prices, depending how you were finding them. Boy.
Yeah.
It has been. I found a Fisto loose but complete at my local toy store for $200. And fortunately, they let people put them on layaway. And I thought, boy, first of all, this is really low price compared to what people are selling him for on eBay. So if I don't buy this right now or put it on layaway right now, I'm going to kick myself in the butt. But I was looking through the figures and I got up to Wondar and I'm like, oh boy, like, do I invest the money in this?
Mm-hmm.
Is he even a character that's worth buying? And then I posted it to one of the groups and somebody says, oh, he's canon now. Okay, well, thanks. Now I got to buy him.
He's just his whole like urban legendness alone to me had me going, huh? Like I was curious when I saw that figure was actually represented in the line. But I'll tell you the one thing that took me over the top, and this is the dumbest reason, but this is the one thing that took me over the top on Wondar, is the power sword he comes with. The fact that the hilt and the handle are black, but everything else is silver. I was like, that's freaking metal. Like, Kevin Smith always uses that term. But when I saw that, I'm like, that is heavy metal He-Man. I love that, like, the distinction of his power sword compared to He-Man's just gray and silver power sword. And I was like,
that's true.
I need that power sword in my collection. And I'm cool with him being Wondar, because my big thing was when I was a kid, I'm bald now, and it is what it is there, but I had brown hair growing up. So for me, it's like if I had a brown-haired He-Man, that would have been my go-to He-Man because it would have been like, that's me as He-Man then, in that way. Like if I would have had, I'm placing myself on that character then versus, he's blonde and this, it's like, I wasn't blonde, I didn't have that, but if I would have had that version, he would have been like, that's my He-Man because he would have been me, you know, or whatever. So it's like there's a couple elements to him where I'm like the mystique just won me over completely on a couple levels after a while.
What won me over was looking through some of the eBay photos and noticing that on the back of his chest armor, right underneath the little Wonder Bread logo, and I thought, okay, like that's cute.
It is cute. It is. Agreed.
Well, and remember, Mark Taylor told us in our interview with him that He-Man was supposed to, or was originally supposed to be, to have brown hair.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if anything will come with it, but I asked, Mark Taylor and Rebecca Taylor if they could look into, with their connections and their friends, if they could get any details about Wondar, about Wonder Bread He-Man for us, and ask them about it. And Rebecca said she would. So I don't know. We'll see someday.
I will say, Dave, really quick about the collecting. If you haven't thought about Vicor or Demo Man, I would add them in, even though they're not completely canon, since those are concept ideas for both He-Man and Skeletor. And to me, that almost makes them like canon in that way because it's the artist's idea going forward into the line of this is how they could be represented until they refined them into He-Man and Skeletor. And plus, they're gorgeous figures on top of that. So.
Oh, yeah.
That was kind of, I felt the same way about both of them. And especially with Vicor, he kind of has that Preternia look to him.
Exactly.
So he kind of fits in that mythology for me a little bit enough to where I can go, okay, I can justify these characters being there.
Yep.
It was just, Molar is just too left field for me.
Exactly. I agree. You'll never have me fighting over Molar. Molar's just like, nope, I'm not going to even put up a fight over that guy. We're good.
Yeah.
But yeah,
if you can take characters and craft them into, give them a further backstory, like That's why I love Keldor as much as I do, is because you get to see Skeletor before he became Skeletor.
Yeah.
And they took the Skeletor character and fleshed him out and gave him this extra identity that nobody ever would have thought about giving him in 1985, and it's just a cool little thing. And it's, especially with him being Randor's brother, it's like, okay, you're kind of tying the whole mythology together. Why is there so much hatred there beyond just, I want to rule Eternia and rule the universe?
Yeah.
Right.
The thing for me, like 2000X is my happy place, and a lot of it is because they filled in those story ideas. They gave a little more, like, there's history in the Filmation a lot, and I didn't realize that until recently, so I can't really say there was no history or ancientness in that story. But I like how what they gave you of the backstory mattered in that cartoon particularly. So, like you said, they give that rivalry between the two of them. And the thing that I was going to say earlier, because you said about Faker, is initially the idea with season 3 of that show was going to be Skeletor develops Faker in order to discredit He-Man and say He-Man's been a Gar all along. And it's then going to be an issue that, oh, well, he's there to topple the king. And that's what turns everything wrong for the Masters, and they were going to be a renegade group going underground that season, from what the interview on He-Man.org was with the showrunner.
So then I wonder how much of that will play into Kevin Smith's new series.
I don't know, because he says it's a continuation of what we grew up with, but Filmation with some people, 2000X with other people, so it'll be really weird to figure that out, and we don't have any bigger clues than that right now. So.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they come up with eventually, right? And to see what so transitioning to the Revelation cartoon, no S.
It's the new Revelations about Revelation.
right, exactly. So yeah. We heard from Kevin Smith that it's going to be 6 to 8 months before we get his trailer for his new series.
He recently tweeted that he got to see the animatics for 8 episodes, and he saw like a animated pass for the first episode, or one episode at least. I don't know if it was the first one. And when he was answering questions, they were asking, well, when are we going to see anything? And he basically said any character designs are they're locked away until Netflix decides when they want to release the series. And as of right now, he thinks the timeline is between 6 to 9 months from, I want to say it was 2 weeks ago that was posted. So we're talking, early to middle next year before we even see a trailer and character designs for this cartoon, apparently.
I mean,
that's so long.
Could any of this be tied to the fact that the live-action movie's been delayed? Because they had this grand plan all in place that was all revolving around that new live-action movie, and without that, it's really awful for them to have this huge investment to have the rug pulled out from under them, and now they're having to just go with it.
And as collectors, how's that going to affect us? Because the Revelation line was announced at PowerCon, but are we going to be waiting?
Well, they said at PowerCon that was supposed to be summer of 2021 that those figures would be announced. So it could be maybe they're trying to time it with the release of that toy line because of the fact that is the Revelation wave they're putting out first. But for me, and I've said it many times, I'm going to say it again, I'm going to be a broken record, but it is mind-blowing to me that a year ago we got just the initial through line of the series, a poster, and Kevin Smith showing up at PowerCon, and we've gotten a cast list, and him just tweeting random stuff to keep the fire burning for people. But the problem is, our fandom is built there's people who are positive and there's people who aren't as positive. And the people who aren't as positive want to dig in and start dissecting what little we've been given and then decide they hate it already based on the little that they know. And it's like, this is not helping us, because for us as Masters fans, it's amazing we're getting new content. It's amazing we're getting new media, you know? And here we are, like, we're on the verge of something that is being sold to us as awesome, and it's going to be amazing, and we're going to feel, you know, like our childhood is renewed because these characters are back, and we're going to be able to see them in a new and interesting way. But we have these people who are already, well, they said it's about Teela because that's all they put in the paragraph, and Teela's going to be the main character, and I hate it because it's SJW, blah, blah, blah. It's like, they never said that, and if you watch the old show, Teela is a main character. It's not like they're taking that from you or forcing it into it. She's always been a main character. It's never been an issue.
And a few people are even saying, oh, she's got a girlfriend too. I mean, just baseless stuff.
Yeah.
Completely baseless rumors, powered by what? People who watch Clownfish TV.
Well, that, and just, I feel like a lot of people are just using their own, I think it's going to be this and I hate it. And it's like, you don't know anything other than we've seen a poster. I'm like chomping at the bit to see character designs, because in the reveals at PowerCon, those silhouettes of those figures, I'm guessing, are the character sheets they're using to animate the show. And I'm looking at those things every time going, I can't wait to see these things for real. Like, I want to see these characters. And there's still even, well, what could this character be? What could that character be? And there's even arguments even based on the silhouettes between fans at this point. And it's like, we're excited. We want to see this, but I feel like that excitement is going to dwindle, and it's going to make people just pissed by the time that this thing finally comes to Netflix, because we've been waiting and being told stuff so much, but we don't have much to back up anything. It's just, here's tweets from Kevin Smith. And I felt bad for him at PowerCon. He really wanted to share. And you just look at Rob David, and Rob David has that, like, you got to reel it in, Kevin. We're not doing this today. And like Kevin, you could just see it in his face, like he was almost desperate to go, can I just show them something? And Rob David's like, no, we're not doing that right now. And I'm not blaming Kevin. I'm not blaming Rob. I'm not blaming anybody. But I'm still like, why did they have to promote this a year ago? And it's going to be close to 2 years before we're going to see a final product. And it's, I feel bad one way or the other. It's a no-win situation.
Maybe.
She-Ra didn't have that build-up and that height. She just kind of on Netflix
happened.
Really.
Yeah. And they had trailers and teaser trailers, but they didn't do something like this where it was, here's a year before you get to see anything, but we're going to promote it anyway. And that's kind of why my frustration's there every time I have to talk about it, because, like, yeah, you're right. She-Ra she had one poster they posted online. It was all across social media. Here's a silhouette of her raising the Sword of Protection. And it just gave you enough to go, okay, well, you know, this is the flavor that it's going to be. And then you got a trailer, like, I want to say a month later or so. It wasn't really like a huge amount of lag time. I don't know if it's the pandemic that ended up being a part of it, because he was saying they've been working through it.
I have a feeling it is, because if they're trying to time everything, the cartoon and those toys, it might be.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have a feeling they would have had something for PowerCon. And figuring now that Toy Fair was canceled for February, we're really going to be waiting for any announcements.
Yeah, you guys might be right. And I'm with you. I'm very excited for the show. I don't like having to wait too much longer for it, but I understand that, you know, I also don't have a choice in the matter.
Yeah.
What I don't understand is all the negativity in fandom. And I see this being in the pro wrestling industry. I see this so much with fans of pro wrestling, is that people are just so negative. And I just think, you know, we're all here. We're all part of this community together. Why poo-poo all over something that you allegedly love? Like, everybody's got a different flavor of ice cream, and that's fine. And you know, I understand that you can be upset and you can have your preference for how you want Tila to be portrayed or how you want He-Man to be portrayed. But at the end of the day, can't you just be happy that we're getting something new after 20 years? Like, at the end of the day, we're getting something new.
I agree with that completely. And the main thing that is the hardest part of all this in this day and age is the disposability of what we're given. Like, back 20 years ago, we had, like 4 or 5 channels. And when the cartoons were on, when I got home from school, my mom knew, okay, you got a block of 2 hours. You're going to sit and here's your stories, like I'll go do something else. I know you're going to watch He-Man. And then at the end of the day, it's G.I. Joe and we're good to go after that point. And nowadays there's so much stuff vying for your attention. There's so many things to choose from entertainment wise and stuff. And everybody is just in, I want it now mode. And like there were people that when the lockdown started happening, they were like, man, I really wish Revelation would be on now so I could watch it. I'm like, yeah. And then 3 days from now, you're going to go on and just spout off all the things that you didn't like about it, and you're not going to enjoy it. You're just going to rip through this thing, and it's not going to be something that, like, a week later, you're going to be like, oh, I really want to watch it again or whatever. It's just you want it to consume, and then you move on. And it's difficult with that mentality of the consumerist, the way that we have things nowadays. And for me personally, I want to just sit and enjoy it. I'd rather, like, I just binged Cobra Kai, for instance, in the last week, and I'm rewatching it for the fact that I know I missed stuff, and I'm actually going back and having fun rewatching it again. And that's one of those series where it's like it's made to binge, but you still, if you loved it, you want to see it again. And I'm going to probably do the same thing with this. And I'm sure there's going to be stuff I missed the first time, or there's going to be animation where it's going to make me get goosebumps because I'm seeing something amazing in a different way, but it feels like, but that's still He-Man fighting Skeletor, or whatever. And so,
especially with those fighty scenes.
Fighty, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like if you're going to put He-Man and Skeletor into a scene where they just get to go at it finally. Versus, He-Man has to throw a rock at him or something. Like every day of the week, I will sit down and watch that stuff. That's great.
I'm the same way. I just started watching Cobra Kai as well. And the first pass through, I thought I could sit and watch this show all the way through 3 to 7 times, and not even blink, because it's just it's a good show. And I want to take, like, as far as He-Man's concerned, I don't want to wait, but I will wait. And while I'm waiting, I'm going to read all the mini comics. I'm going to watch the Filmation show all over again.
Yeah.
I'm going to get all caught up on everything that there is, so that way I can sit and enjoy Revelation when it's out.
Sure.
And you can talk all about those topics on adultcollector.org. Origins fans group, Revelation fans group, Filmation fans group, you name it, I've got it. Orko's Book Nook for all your literature enjoyment.
I just joined Orko's Book Nook.
Nice. Awesome. But, I really hope that they release Revelation one episode at a time so people don't just watch it all and then move on to the next thing, that they can all enjoy the first episode, talk about it, and the next week, here's another episode.
That's the only bad thing about Netflix. They do put a whole season out on one day.
Yeah.
Where Amazon Prime, Disney, Hulu, they all put one episode a week. Or I know Amazon Prime last weekend had 3 episodes of The Boys, and then just started with the one episode following that season.
Yeah.
I wish Netflix would adapt it for some of this. So we could turn around and say, okay, we're going to digest episode 1, we'll tear it apart, we'll get our anger out, see all the joy, and then go to see episode 2.
Yeah. I'm the same way. I really enjoyed binge watching certain things, but and when Star Wars Rebels, the series finale came out, I had the moment where I'm like, oh my gosh, just give me everything all at once. But looking back on it, I enjoyed sitting and and having the anticipation build for the next episode week by week.
Well,
giving you time to talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And with Cobra Kai, for instance, like we already brought that up, that was a week-to-week thing. And when it first came out on YouTube Red.
YouTube. Yep.
And
I know. That was the only reason I got the subscription for YouTube Red was for Cobra Kai.
Yeah. And I liked that they did it for that, for instance. But like you're in a damned if you do, damned if you don't thing with this too, because I would love if they did it 1 week at a time, like you guys are talking about. The fan base will probably they love that because you're not digesting it all in one lump sum and, like 1 day later you're done watching it. Then there's going to be the people, why can't they do it like everything else? It's like, you can't win, like no matter what you do really in this day and age.
and you're seeing that with the Origins lines out right now with Walmart. People are so upset because they're Walmart exclusives and they can't find it. And I get it, but the opportunities have been there to pre-order them online. The toys are out there. You might have to do a little work to get them.
Mm-hmm.
But before the toys were officially launched, like it was fun to sit and try to hunt these figures down online and try to see if they were there to get the pre-order. But now people are starting to get their figures and, oh, my box isn't in perfect condition. Okay.
Exactly.
I understand that. But if you're going to piss and moan about your box, like go wait until you can find them at the store. Wait until next year when Target starts offering them. And you can find them on a shelf anywhere. Like, I understand people want their boxes. I'm not a mint on card guy. I like to open all my figures and play with them.
Mm-hmm.
But I understand that some people aren't like me and they want to keep them mint on card, and that's great. But then don't order from Walmart. We see all these posts in the groups now of people going, oh, Walmart did it again. Well, of course they did it again because they've done it to the 75 other people that posted the same status before you did. Like, just either be happy you got the figure or wait a little bit longer to buy it somewhere else.
I'm actually considering on the Origins fans group, I was thinking about this today actually, possibly having a thread that's a post that's specifically about shipping complaints. And then if anybody, tries to post something that says, look at what Walmart did to my package, then I would just refer them to that particular post, which is what I'm doing now with the all of the posts that are saying, oh, look at these empty shelves. Yeah, the empty peg photos. Those have pretty much disappeared now that they've been relegated to a single post.
It's probably not a bad idea. I understand people want to commiserate with each other, and birds of a feather flock together, right? Like these people who are complaining about empty pegs in their Walmart packages, they're all going to just jump in and pig pile on these topics with each other. So just give them a place to vent.
Then they certainly deserve to be able to voice their concerns and have a voice.
Sure.
Absolutely.
I don't understand why any of them are surprised with the condition their packaging are coming in, but that's, I guess, another story for another day.
I mean, it would be, of course, in a perfect world if decisions weren't made the way they were, then we would be able to just go to like bigbadtoystore.com and have our figures in wonderful condition.
Well, that will be in a few more months.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
I mean, we are in the countdown.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I also don't think Origins was, like, a lot of these guys need to understand that Origins wasn't created to be a collector's line. It was created to be a line to get kids buying figures again and to buy into the Masters universe.
Yeah.
I'd say both.
Well, I mean...
Well, to quote Scott Knightlick,
it's not a collector's line.
of those toys at retail are meant for kids. They're aimed for the younger group.
Sure.
20% of the sales are for the collectors, unless the items in the back of the Walmart or back of the Target on our little collector's wall, hidden where no one can find us adults who are still playing with our toys.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think when the Revelation line comes out and the
you mean the Masterverse?
Yeah, the Masterverse comes out.
Yeah.
Those, I can understand if you're upset and you get that package and it's banged up. Those, I feel like that line is specific for people like us.
Yes.
But
sure.
Those, the Origins lines that are just sitting on a peg, and I go through my Walmarts now and I see it's mostly just Skeletor and He-Man now. They're still sitting there on the pegs now. And
I still have empty pegs.
I have empty pigs too. I've been into Walmart just last night.
That's including the WW Eternia's figures too.
The WWE figures are selling. I've been to 2 Walmarts over the last 2 days that still have either Skeletor or He-Man or both still on the peg. But the WWE figures are mostly gone, which is kind of shocking to me.
It's really cool.
I suppose. It is. I mean, I guess it shouldn't be shocking. Like, WWE has a fan base, right? They've got a weekly television product you can follow to stay married to and invested in that line.
2 of them, yeah.
Whereas He-Man doesn't yet. It'll be exciting to see what the MOTU figures do once the new show is out.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and it's, I'll just say that, the toy companies have decided 2020 is the year where they're going to give us all these amazing toy lines that we wish we had years ago, with Transformers and G.I. Joes and Ninja Turtles and Master of the Universe. And but yeah, here we are. We're Wave 2's on the way. It's already showing up in Germany, and sometime here we're gonna get it. What we've heard is by October they're gonna be all over, and that we won't have any. We should by October, I don't know, sometime in October, we shouldn't have any problem getting the figures. And they've just, I think, Dave, you were talking to a Walmart representative or a Mattel representative at Walmart the other day.
Yeah, and she had mentioned that they were behind on pretty much all of their orders for everything, and that by October they should be doubling up on everything, which makes sense, get ready for Christmas and things like that. But I think you're right, David. I think that 2020 was the year where they were going to give everybody the products that we should have had. And it's just unfortunate timing with COVID and things of that nature, just kind of stifling the release of these things. It certainly hasn't made it any easier to get these figures. I feel like we'd probably see, because I see it even with the wrestling company AEW just released their line of figures, and I saw them on a display once, never seen them again, and I'm kicking myself in the butt for not grabbing the 2 figures that I wanted. And I just think it's, shipping times and product priority is probably set to a very low for action figures.
I read something about, I don't know if it was AEW or some company hired people to help get those figures out, and to help put up special displays for them in the, those special, what do you call them? Not end caps, but the islands of figures.
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty cool. And there have been some efforts made to, by like NECA to try to fight the horrible scalper situation this year. yeah, it's just really terrible timing, and people are having a hard time, I'm sure, paying for these figures, to afford them. They're making some tough choices because of the economic downturn that the pandemic has caused. So there's I'm sure there's a ton of frustration out there. Yeah, and I've seen it. I've seen it every day.
Yep.
But
on the bright side, in 2021, these figures are going to be available everywhere.
Yeah.
And hopefully this pandemic starts to turn around by then, and people can reinvest in the things that they love.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
There's a light at the end of the tunnel. It's coming up quick. We're already into mid-September, and we're going to get our Snake Mountains in the mail. We're going to get our PowerCon exclusives in the mail, both She-Ra and the 5-pack. Lords of Power.
Lords of Power.
Yeah, and I'm really hoping I can get my sets. Yeah, but yeah, I'm sure that I'll get help with that.
I got really lucky with the Snake Mountain.
What's that?
Because I was so late. I got really lucky with Snake Mountain because I was so late to investing in the Classics line. I obviously missed the pre-order window for it, but I found somebody selling off a bunch of his classic figures who's been so kind to allow me to put a reserve on them and go, hey, I guarantee you I'm going to buy these ones over the next course of 30 days if you could just hold them for me. And when Snake Mountain came out, he had that on pre-order, and he said, do you just want to take over my pre-order?
Wow.
And I go, yep, love to. Yeah.
That's super lucky.
Yeah.
You just discovered plutonium by accident, my friend. That is awesome.
Yeah. I got very, very lucky. I'm kicking myself in the butt because he had Grayskull up for a very good price. I think he was selling Grayskull for $800, and it came with extra 3D printed accessories that he had done. And I thought, man, it just went faster than I expected it to, and I wish now I would have jumped on it. But you win some, you lose some.
Tell me who here, aside from myself, who has already gone to like IKEA or a furniture store, starting to measure shelves, or dressers for this Snake Mountain, which is going to be enormous.
I'm converting my. Well, I have a platform bed. I'm just going to get rid of the mattress and use the platform for it.
Oh, there you go.
I'll be honest with you. I'm actually quite worried about opening up that box and unfolding the entire playset in front of my wife and her going, where are you going to put that?
Yep. Yeah, I'm kind of in the same situation. I don't know where exactly I'm going to put it, but I don't know. We'll see. Me and my wife we've talked about it. Like, okay, well, where are we going to get a dresser? What are we going to do? So we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out.
Build another room.
Build another room.
Well, that's the conversation
to buy a house.
My wife and I had. Yeah, we had the conversation of next year let's start house shopping, and you're probably going to need a 4th or 5th bedroom for the things that you want in life. So.
That's how it works sometimes.
Just say, just tell her, it's a better investment if we get a larger house. Really, I mean,
it really is
for the resale value.
And I'll never sell the toys, but the toys are an investment as well.
It's an investment. That's right. I mean, in 30 years, you'll sell your Snake Mountain and you'll make a killing off of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
My children are going to have to buy 2 plots for me and bury all my stuff with me.
There you go. Like buried like a pharaoh, like a Egyptian
pretty
king.
Much, yeah.
All your
they may just want to just dump a bunch of dirt over my house.
There you go. My goodness. Viking funeral. You just fill up a big boat. Yeah. You're on top of like the pile of toys. So, but yeah, my biggest worry is opening up Snake Mountain. I'm thinking like, okay, I need to take a video of this because what if I open it up and an accessory is missing or something? Like, then what? You know?
That's a fair point.
Yeah.
Well, the Thundercats with some of they had their problems with like Panthro and Jackalman and stuff.
Yeah.
And you know, like I know there's people out there who are like, don't mess this up, Super 7, and I really don't want to be the guy that is anti Super 7. I think there's elements of what they do that's fun and all that stuff, but I'm like, you know, I'd hate to be Brian Flynn right now with that, especially. It just, you know, it's like, our hopes are riding with you on this one. Please, Snake Mountain, come to us normal or whatever, you know, and all of a sudden, you know, oh, something's painted wrong or something. It's like, oh my God, I can imagine the headache there.
I have faith. We've seen the Paint Master, and you know, from what we've seen, I think he'll definitely do us right, and Super 7 will too. And this will be a fantastic send-off for Classics, and we're going to enjoy the Snake Mountain with our Classics figures, with our Origins figures. It's going to look beautiful with our Origins figures.
Oh, yeah.
And minis figures, I'm sure, as well. Which, by the way...
The size difference between the Origins figures and the Classics, like, it's going to make Snake Mountain look gigantic with those Origins figures.
Exactly. It's wonderful using Classics Grayskull with the Origins figures for that reason. I wanted to ask, Dave, give us some insight about what you heard about Black Friday.
Oh, so I was talking to a Walmart employee, and they had mentioned that at this point, there are no plans for them to participate in Black Friday as far as being open that day. But
I know they had already released that they were. Sorry, Dave. I know they had already made a public announcement that they were not participating in the early Friday that starts Thursday night. But they did say they were going to be open on the traditional Black Friday. But they'll be opening at normal time.
Right. I think they'll be open the normal Friday hours that they're normally open now. But they've still got all this product that they've got to get out that they were anticipating to sell Thursday night. And from what I was told, they're going to be starting to put the pallets out now and more or less discount or clearance price a lot of it just to get it moving and off the floor. So that would be something I would highly encourage people. I mean, if it happens, I would imagine that most people are going to be able to get a lot of Christmas shopping done pretty early on at reasonable prices.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I also have a feeling why they're doing that is so they can still keep the number of people in their stores low with the transmission rate, because we're just starting our second wave now as we're going into the fall and winter. Mm-hmm. So it's actually a very good idea, both economically and health-wise, that they're starting earlier.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see. It would be wonderful to see stores packed full of extra Origins figures and minis figures and the new Mega Constructs, Masters of the Universe toys. We'll have to keep an eye out for that stuff. You know, I really wish that it was easier to collect those Eternia minifigures. Any signs? How lucky has everybody here gotten in terms of those?
I haven't even found one of them.
Really?
Not even an empty box.
Jeez.
I've got the full first wave. Prior to getting the full first wave, it was one box, maybe 4 or 5 figures, and then I got lucky when I asked somebody, and she said, "Oh yeah, there's a box of them in the back," and she went and dug out all the figures I needed for me.
Mhm.
But I haven't seen any of the Snake Mountain Wave yet. And
Right.
it's disappointing because they all share the same SKU. So you
Yeah.
can't even have them look for a specific SKU and expect it to be the Snake Mountain. It could be 3 Castle Grayskull sets for all we know.
It's a funny, tragically funny, comparison in how Wave 2 is. Well, Wave 1, you know what you're getting just by looking at the bottom of the package. But with Wave 2, I feel like it's extra blind box. Because, one, they share the same barcode, so you show up at the store and it's just a Wave 1 case. And then the other thing is I've seen people on the Eternia Minis fans group on Facebook, which everybody should go to check out. They've said that they've bought like 2 or 3 cases and there's no Stinkor, or they'll buy 2 cases and there's no Gold Armor Skeletor.
Interesting.
Whereas you're getting the full set if you get a Wave 1 case.
Right.
What I find funny is, out of anything that I've gone into Walmart, that's what I've been finding, and I can't find any Origins.
Oh, jeez.
So, like, the other night, my one buddy was over there, and he sent me a photo of the Grayskull box. And he's like, hey, look what they got. And I wrote him back real quick, and I go, if they have an H in there, let me know. And he wrote back, and he actually sent me the photo. Here's H. I go, I'm going to hang out with you tomorrow night. I will pay you back for that if you get me H. And the next night, I actually went back to Walmart with him, and it was still stocked with that one. I got Skeletor and He-Man, at least. And in the last week, the Snake Mountain set has been out there. But, that's the only Master stuff that's at my Walmart right now. And it's kind of dumb. It's confounding to me. Like, how is it everybody has Origins lining the shelves, and here I am going, I got the minis. It's like, okay.
Hey, at least you got that.
Nothing. Now that I know that you have nothing, I get it. Like, trust me, because it is really cool to go in there and go, at least there's those, because, like, there's Castle Grayskull, Snake Mountain, and it's like, oh, home, But I don't know what is up with our Walmarts here. It's so backwards compared to everybody else out there.
About a week or
I'll
two
trade
ago.
you your Snake Mountain Walmart for my He-Man and Skeletor Walmart any day of the week.
There you go.
I'll take anything at this point.
Yeah. Well, the consensus right now on the Origins fans group is that Sky Sled is the hardest to find. I think that, well, one, it's one of the bigger items. You're not going to find it in one of those mixed cases of figures or anything like that.
No, because it ships in its own case.
Right. Well, reason 2, the sides, the side plates and the head are interchangeable, so people want to buy 2. Another reason is when you look at the Sky Sled Prince Adam figure, like a lot of the He-Man figures, his eyes are looking up, they're looking down, they're looking left, they're looking right. It's very hard. And I've bought several trying to find a straight one. It's very hard to find, specifically the Prince Adam. It's hard to find one with straight eyes. That's another reason why, I feel like it's hard to find. And lastly, and a lot of people don't realize this, is with the Sky Sled Prince Adam, his head, his eyebrows look different than the He-Man eyebrows. And so He-Man Origins looks much better when you display him with the Prince Adam head. The Prince Adam head looks like he's angry because of the way that the eyebrows are done.
I'm going to have to go take a look at mine now. I've got a funny story about the Sky Sled, actually. I pulled into a Walmart one night just to go grab some groceries, and I saw a guy walking out with a Sky Sled in his hand. And I stopped him, and we were talking, and he goes, yeah, man, I got this off the clearance rack. And I said, what? And he goes, yeah, they marked it down because somebody opened it up and Prince Adam's leg was off.
Oh, geez.
And I go, yeah, but they're removable. And he goes, I know. For me, right?
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, boy.
So what?
That's sort of like the picture that I was seeing on Facebook where all you saw was the upper part of He-Man in the blister.
Yeah.
Yeah. But his leg was just floating around in the bottom of the box, and somebody thought it was broken off, and so they returned the toy, and Walmart just clearanced it.
I saw that photo that you're talking about, Kelly, and I liked that the comment on it was, maybe this is why this is the only He-Man figure I found at Walmart tonight.
I saw that photo and I thought, I kind of wish I was there to buy that one, because it'd just be kind of cool to make like a sand trap He-Man, or like He-Man got caught in the slime pit, right? And there's the torso just hanging out.
Yeah.
He-Man getting out of the invisible jet.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I remember when Mattel was giving away the invisible jet at San Diego Comic-Con. It was an empty box.
It reminds me of somebody posted a photo of, it was at Walmart, a Sky Sled set, and somebody swapped out the Prince Adam for a vintage Fisto figure.
I saw that one today too. Yeah.
I just saw that, yeah.
So funny. Oh my goodness.
I had to double take on it. I thought, are we getting Fisto already?
Yeah. Yeah, Wave 2. I'm really excited for it. I'm really shocked. I mean, that it's just in Germany right now, and what is it, specifically Orko and Scareglow. My understanding anyways is Man-at-Arm or Manny-Faces was late in arriving, and what was the other one? Trapjaw. Yeah, they don't have Trapjaw yet, I don't think. So hopefully we'll get them real quick here too.
I'm hoping so. I keep checking my Walmart order every couple of days to see if I've got the dreaded cancel notification. So far I've been able to escape that, but seeing them arrive overseas, I keep hanging on to hope that one day, very soon, it's going to turn into a shipped notification.
Oh yeah, I mean that'd be amazing. Yeah, I'm still checking my orders too, and same thing with Wave 4 of Masters of the WWE Universe. Still haven't seen word of that. So.
Yep, that is, according to my Walmart order, comes out 3 days after my Wave 2 figures come out. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, hopefully I should be getting them all around the same time. That Wave 4 Wave 4 is really cool. Wave 5, it looks just fantastic. I can't wait for Wave 5. But Wave 4 looks really cool. I wasn't sold on the WWE Masters figures at first.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't until, because I'm a guy who doesn't like my things to intermingle. Like, I don't even like my food to really touch each other. And so when I saw him, I thought, I mean, this is okay, cool, I get it, but it's just not for me. And then Rey Mysterio looks cool. And then the New Day figure really was interesting to me because I liked the fact that they took 3 wrestlers and turned them into Manny-Faces.
Mm-hmm.
And that was just an awesome idea for me. And I thought, okay, I can get behind this one. I'll probably get this one. And then I saw a couple of the other Legends figures, and I thought, well, I'll get those too because that's kind of cool. And then by the time I started getting them, like, okay, I'll get them all. And after opening up and being able to play with them, they are, they're to me the perfect representation of what a wrestling toy should be.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. And I hope that we could get some accessories, some arms and legs and such, so that we can turn those figures into pure wrestling figures. Like we can do that with a few of them, but with other ones you're stuck with like He-Man type arm bracers or leggings or something like that. But yeah, I'd really like to be able to turn all of them into just wrestling figures.
Well, I'm really looking forward to, and I haven't opened any of my Origins figures yet because I typically will open my figures and review them for my YouTube show. And I just haven't gotten to my Origins line yet.
What's the name of your show?
It's Bash Brothers Reviews. If you
go.
guys search Bash Bros TV or Bash Bros Tag Team, it's on YouTube. But I'm looking forward to opening my Origins figures and taking the Ultimate Warrior's spear and putting it with He-Man and making the very first mini. Yeah. Because when we first saw He-Man in the first mini comic, he was just a barbarian. And that's what I'm looking forward to.
There you go. Well, I really hope that I really, really hope that we get a set, like maybe an exclusive set of Goddess and Ular and that purple monster. That's what I want.
Yeah.
With breakable jaw.
With breakable jaw. Yeah. That'd be great. Battle damage.
Yeah. The WWE line, when we were talking about Molar earlier, and it's like that to me was like the new equivalent of that when they first announced it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, is this like a parody? Like, why are they doing this? and now, it's taken on a life of its own, and fans like us are now accepting of it and everything, and it's crazy. And I mean, honestly, I thought the Undertaker one was really cool. Because that mashup makes complete sense. Scareglow and Undertaker. Oh, yeah. And props to Danielle Galerter for being the one of Roast Google to just go, oh, this is who they should be doing. And then like a month or two later, hey, guess what we're getting? And it's like, man, she called that from a mile away. But the other one that I was completely like grinning from ear to ear. I was surprised how much this affected me was the Mr. T.
Yeah.
That one. Yeah. That one was like,
me too.
Oh man, if you think, like He-Man to me is still pure 80s in that way. It's like, its heart is right there. It's like, who else embodies the 80s quite like Mr. T of all people and throw him in? Oh my God, that was brilliant.
And the design.
I thought Mr. T was great.
Yeah.
I also think Jake the Snake as King Hiss is also really cool.
Mm-hmm.
That just made perfect sense for me as well. Cause I was right there with you. It just felt too much of a parody for me. But then, like I said, once I opened them up, like I grew up playing with the LJN figures and the Hasbro figures.
Yeah.
And they were overly characterized muscle guys, right? And nowadays we have skinnier representations of these wrestlers, and they're true to form, right? They're to scale or whatever it is, and the articulation is wonderful. But you pick them up and they're just, it's like picking up a Ken doll or something almost. They're not muscly guys. And when I opened up these figures, I was like, okay, this is the way a wrestling figure should be portrayed. Like, give me this over-the-top muscle and animation. That's what I liked about them.
Yeah, the larger-than-life. That's their personalities in the ring. It's like make the toy reflect that,
right, exactly,
They could always come back at when they're done with the WWE Masters of the WWE figures, and it's wonderful that we're getting so many of these figures. Give us more. I want them. Just keep pumping those out. But they could always, when they're done with that, turn around and still use the same molds and say, okay, now we're going to do a regular line of WWE figures, still using the Origin style molds. But they're just wrestling figures.
Yep. Yeah, they could. And you're right. I hope that we get a lot more waves of this. And I think the one thing that I really like about these WWE mashups is that they haven't gone very heavy on today's modern wrestlers. It's been a lot of throwback Legends characters that they've leaned on, which I think is also great and just kind of a nod to the 80s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a wonderful nod. And I love that, they've got the same style, they're doing the mini comics hand in hand with the Origins comics. I would love to see like a crossover at some point.
That would be fantastic.
Yeah, like a comic, like a special convention set that has a special mini comic in it, like a versus 2-pack, He-Man versus, He-Man and Hulk Hogan tag team against Skeletor and some other wrestler.
Triple H, the Skull King or whatever they're calling him.
There you go, Skull King.
Yeah.
And then give them different, like mix up their colors or something, color them so that each set looks like they're a tag team, Yeah, that'd be really cool. Well, anyway, I gotta get going, but I would love to. It's been a while. This has been a lot of fun.
Always is.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for having me on.
Well, we'll hopefully have you back again.
Anytime. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
I'd like to thank our guest, Dave, for joining us today. Also, just a reminder to go to thepower-con.com to order the 2-book bundle and help support all the fans that do put their hard work into creating these Dark Horse wonderful books that we were talking about earlier. And to make sure to check out He-Man.org for all your up-to-the-minute news on anything related to Masters of the Universe, and check Nerds on the Couch for all nerd-related news. Till next time, good journey.
And this is David Clark, owner of AdultCollector.org. I want to invite everybody to come visit AdultCollector.org on Facebook and to explore all of the different topic-specific groups and pages celebrating everything we love about He-Man and She-Ra. All right, good journey.
And this is Shawn, and I want to say thanks again for having me back on the show. And if you want to hear a little more He-Man geekdom from me, my friend Matthew Duch and I do a podcast, Legends of Grayskull, where we talk about the history and mystery and the mythology of He-Man, She-Ra, and all of the Mattel brand that is Masters of the Universe, Princes of Power, and everything. So until next time.
And this is Dave. I want to thank you guys for having me on, and you guys can check out anything relating to me and my professional wrestling career and tag team by searching the Bash Bros Tag Team or Bash Bros Tag Team on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, anywhere you can find us on social media. And if you guys want to chat He-Man, I'd love to chat He-Man and anything MOTU related as well. Thank you guys again so much for having me on.
If you liked what you heard, please remember to subscribe to stay up to date with all of our podcasts. Like this video and hit the bell to be notified when we upload new content. This has been a production of Nerds on the Couch. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter in association with AdultCollector.org. You can find them on Facebook. Good journey.